Hi there, Chad Brown with Home Waters Real Estate. I think a lot of people are out there wondering how exactly are we selling properties right now? There's no doubt that there's less inventory. A lot of people are just waiting for things to be opened up. We're hoping that's in the next week or two. But the reality is, we can do a pretty good job of presenting properties online, even if we haven't been to them recently. So, a good example, we got a call from an agent from downstate probably 2 weeks ago now, and her clients apparently drove up on their own and looked at a 40-acre piece that we have on the north branch of the Asabo. She's not really familiar with the river at all, or zoning, or really anything about the area. But her clients, after walking the property on their own, were more interested, and so I offered to do an online Zoom meeting with her and her client. So yesterday we got online with that meeting. She was in one window, her client was in another window, and I was here in my office showing them the property. Basically, it helped that they were familiar with it from having walked it, but I figured I'd run through you some of the things that we can do. So how it works, basically, we send you a link to a meeting just like the one I'm doing now, and once you and your client, or your client, and whomever else you'd like, jump on that meeting, I can do a screen share, which I'll do now, and it allows you and anyone else on that call to see my screen. So this is the basic MLS information about the property that is in question, 40 acres again, on McMaster's Bridge, has frontage at two different points of the river, so the layout's kind of interesting and a little bit difficult to discern. So we pulled up the survey of the property. And that shows that the property kind of cuts in the northern edge here, and it cuts out at the southeastern corner. Well, obviously on a survey, this is just flat property, but that's not the reality of it. And so we then use other tools that we have. One tool that's become really invaluable to me and a lot of realtors is this. It's called Onyx Hunt. And what this is it shows aerial images of property, and it overlays tax information over it, the tax property boundaries. So it actually shows you this is the property in question. It's just under 40 acres. And you can see the same shape as what's on the survey, but now you can see topographic lines showing ridges and curves. You can actually see here, if you kind of know what you're looking at, this is like a little wetland drainage that comes down and enters the river right here, kind of spills into this drainage. So with their experience on property and being able to pull this up, we were able to describe this potential building site up here. There's a 200-foot setback from the river. I can even use this line distance measure to measure off what is really 150 feet. It's a little complex, but you can get a foot closer for every foot of rise. So that's your 150-foot setback. You can see that puts you kind of at the top of this rise. So I don't want to get into too much detail on it, but the focus of this is that through the use of pictures, these are pictures that I have of the property in a folder, and I can kind of describe these to a potential buyer or to an agent who's trying to do more discovery for their client. Talk about where this is. This is at that same bend of the river looking downstream. So I don't know, there's a lot of tools that we can use. I think you see some realtors, including myself, getting a little frustrated online about our inability to get out in the field and actually visit properties, take photos of properties, and conduct in-person showings. That's obviously the ideal scenario, so long as we can do that safely. But without those limitations being lifted, we can still do an awful lot. I bring this up today because we received an offer on that property this morning based on the video call that we did yesterday on Zoom. So we've got a little ways to go to see if we can negotiate this offer between buyer and seller, but just a great example of that agent downstate did a really good job on behalf of her clients and willing to allow them to get on a call with the listing agent, ask any questions of me that they wanted. I was able to give them really good information because I'm really familiar with the property. And together we were able to get her client to a point where they're excited about the property and confident enough that they made the offer today. So those are just a few of the things we're doing. In the meantime, this can obviously be done even when restrictions are lifted. We know there's going to be some people who are going to be leery of attending a showing in person or traveling. So these are just some of the tools we can use. I mean, when we're able to get into a home, I can be on a meeting like this in person in the home with a buyer on another video screen somewhere else, walking actually through the home and describing room by room, showing them the interior of the closet or whatever they want to see without ever leaving their own home. So we've got great tools if you know how to use them, and we do. We can really do an awful lot and keep everybody safe. So hopefully everybody's well. We'll look forward to talking to you soon in another video, or hopefully in person even sooner.